Greetings, kindred. So we're coming up to the full moon lunar eclipse, which will occur on the 14th of March. So I always get my images here from timeanddate.com. I mean, I've been getting my information, my astronomical information from them for years, actually. I find them quite reliable. But they also cover like moon phases, the solstices, all the eclipse information. It's a really interesting website if you're into astronomy. But also what I want to add to this is this is not your normal 12 sign tropical astrology. It's not even sidereal astrology. This is astronomical astrology. And, I call it the true lifetime sky. But it really is where all the planets are situated in the sky in real time. Now, Western tropical astrology is basically based on a man-made map that was created by Ptolemy. And, he cut all the constellations down to 30 degrees, 30 days long. And he omitted the sign of Ophiuchus, who also sits on the ecliptic. So he's definitely considered a sun sign, because any constellation that sits on the ecliptic or just above the ecliptic is considered a star sign. Any constellation below the ecliptic doesn't hold so much dominance, so the ones above hold more dominance. So I just wanted to relay that to those of you that are not aware that this is 13 star sign astrology based on true lifetime sky data. So as we can see here, the path of the eclipse is going to be mostly visible in North America and South America. And as the colours fade out, the eclipse becomes less and less visible. So, lunar eclipses do cover a wider scope of area, whereas a solar eclipse, not so much. It's more kind of focused on an area. So it's when the Earth actually comes in between the sun and moon, it creates what we call a lunar eclipse, and it's also known as a blood moon. So the eclipse will begin 3:57 GMT. Now GMT is the same as UTC right now until the end of March, when the GMT clocks will go back an hour. So right now the GMT and the UTC are kind of at the same time. I say kind of, it is at the same time. So the eclipse will begin at 3:57 GMT, will reach its peak at 6:26 GMT, and will completely come to an end at 10:00 hours GMT. So please do go to timeanddate.com if you would like to know the time of the eclipse in your area. So, astronomically or astrologically, the eclipse represents the dark feminine. And whereas the solar eclipse is a very masculine energy, the lunar eclipse is actually a feminine energy, but it's the dark feminine, very much associated as well with the black moon Lilith. So it's during these eclipses where many of us will really go into deep introspection. I mean, it's quite an awesome time if you're right in the mix of an eclipse. I don't know if you've seen one yourself. I don't know how old you are. I've seen a few in my lifetime, and they are kind of eerie as well. I find them quite eerie personally. But, it's a time, where we really go within ourselves. It's also a time where our subconscious comes into the conscious realm. Do you know what I mean? Where things are kind of revealed to us, either through our psychic senses or by our thoughts. So again, it's a time where all our five senses really do become active. It's like when we walk around in the dark, we start our feelings, we can feel things around us. And, we just, all our psychic senses kick in basically. Also a time of release as well. So anything that does come up around a lunar eclipse should really be analysed and, you know, gotten to the bottom of, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? So whatever feelings come up or notions or even like, environmentally, whatever comes up, do kind of focus on it and see what it is within that situation that needs to be kind of dealt with or released. So, yeah, it's a really good time, really, as well. I would burn a candle at a lunar eclipse, and, whatever does come up, or if you want to do any intentions at the lunar eclipse, write it down on a piece of paper and then burn it in a safe place. I did recommend that recently, actually, because the Black Moon Lilith has been very, very active lately around event charts, but not as much as last year. But she is very much involved in the Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury will go into full retrograde on the 15th, so the day after the lunar eclipse. Mercury will enter into full retrograde. He's already been in pre-shadow since the 1st of March, and the pre-shadow with this particular Mercury retrograde, which is in Pisces, it's very potent, the pre-shadow, as well as the retrograde itself, although the post-shadow is a little bit more easier to navigate through. So I just wanted to give you that as well. I have written a Mercury retrograde article, which I will link below on whatever platform you're watching this on. And also the sun will move into Pisces on the 12th. So just before the eclipse. I mean, I'm actually recording this on the 11th. So on the 12th, the sun moves into Pisces. Now, I used to do horoscopes a few years ago, but I stopped doing them because my personal life just became very erratic. I've had a lot to deal with over the last couple of years. And so I stopped doing them for a while, but I'm actually, started them up again. So for all you guys that have been emailing me going, please do the horoscopes again, here they are. I've started them again. And, I really do feel I will be getting back into the swing of things when it comes to my astrology work this year. So I've got lots of plans and I will be releasing them as time goes on, because I find if I talk about it beforehand, it just never seems to happen. So I'm just going to give it to you as I'm creating. Right, so I've given you the time of the eclipses. So I've kind of explained what the eclipse is about. All right, so now let's get into the full moon chart wheel. So here we are at the chart wheel, and the full moon will reach its peak on the 14th of March at 6:54 GMT. And as the full moon reaches its peak, it will be at 35 degrees in Leo. So the last degree, really. And it will also be coming into conjunction with the South Node. And the South Node is actually connected to the moon. The North and the South Node are the moon's nodes. So, I feel emotionally with the eclipse going on and with the moon still being in Leo, I really do feel that it's really a good time to take care of ourselves but this opposition with the South Node and the moon towards Saturn, the sun. I mean, the moon is always in opposition to the sun at a full moon anyway. But also Neptune here. So Neptune is at 7 degrees. I mean, Venus is just underneath Neptune here, but Venus is at 15 degrees, conjunct Mercury, who will be retrograde in the day after the full moon, but already in pre-shadow. Venus is already in retrograde. Now, Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde are conjunct. They will be coming into an exact conjunction. So it's like a double whammy, really, when it comes to brain fog. and maybe a little bit of high expectations there as well. Do you know what I mean? But in Pisces, I feel like we can go into like an escape mode. We can escape through meditation or just letting our minds wander, maybe getting into our creativity or whatever we're doing artistically. I feel just let that energy flow, because really our heads are not going to be able to focus on anything important, really. So it's definitely not a good time for contracts. It never is in a Mercury retrograde anyway, or to buy electrical equipment. But I feel in this respect as well, like if we're researching or trying to get information together for something, I don't feel things will be what they seem at this point. So we need to be aware of that. The Leo moon is actually quite a proud moon as well. So, the Leo moon does like to be seen, whereas all the planetary energies here are suggesting that we just keep ourselves to ourselves, especially it being a lunar eclipse as well, where we're doing a lot of deep introspection. It could be that, we could get misjudged, or could be a lot of misunderstandings because our brains are foggy, so we're not absorbing information in the correct way. And we can be very highly sensitive when it comes to our feelings and our emotions with Venus and Mercury conjunct, and both in retrograde in the sign of Pisces. There's quite a little stellium going on here in Pisces, and stelliums can be quite competitive. So I don't feel it's really a good time to put ourselves up front in anything right now. I think we really do need to wait until this energy clears, which does take quite a bit of time, especially with it being eclipse, because the energy of the eclipse can last for a good few months. And, Mercury retrogrades will be going on throughout March into towards the end of April. But like I said, when it enters into post shadow, it's a lot more better to navigate. So I would say around about mid-April, maybe we'll start to get a little bit of clarity, a little bit more clear thinking. But up till that point, just be aware that, information can be absorbed wrongly throughout this time. So just watch out for that. And also watch out for trying to relay facts to people, because like I said, it's just not going to be heard right now. And I just feel that everyone's in their own kind of space and in their own kind of mindset, in their own kind of feelings. So, especially with the Black Moon Lilith here in opposition to Chiron, who's been transiting Pisces for quite a while now. And with the Black Moon Lilith in Virgo, that creates a lot of nervous energy. I would definitely say watch out for stomach issues at this time, nervous energy, again, misunderstandings, or even physical pain. Virgo rules health. Chiron is all about the wounds. So be careful of accidents as well during this time, or if there's any medical conditions going on, please do get them sorted. Do you know what I mean? In whatever way you do that. So I just feel it's a time to really take note of anything that's going on within our minds or within our bodies right now. And also there could be addiction issues that surface right now. So, just be aware of that as well. It's not necessarily about us as an individual that are going to experience all these things. We may be witness to it when it comes to other people. So this is a global energy report. We could be seeing it in other places in the world even, and there is a lot going on at the moment. There's a lot of changes occurring as well. This is all about, universal consciousness and us coming into a greater awareness. But, it's also a time of social reformation. So it doesn't really go hand in hand because I really do feel these two things are in opposition right now, with humanity and universal laws really are really in conflict right now in certain areas in the world. And also, it's very karmic, this energy. So it really does say that, whatever we've been doing up to this point has been creating karma, and now it's time for karma to reveal itself. So there's a lot of karmic energy here, especially with the moon as well, conjunct the south node in opposition to the north node that's conjunct the sun. But I really do feel it's a really good time for a lot of introspection and even just to get some rest, because I feel that energy is going to be very, very draining as well. I feel like there's going to be a lot of blocks when it comes to self-expression, especially with Saturn conjunct the sun. And Saturn's just entered into Pisces as well here. So Saturn has been transiting through Aquarius, and, he actually does well in Aquarius because it opens his mind up a little bit more. But in Pisces, I feel like, yeah, he's not so comfortable in the sign of Pisces, because Pisces are very creative, very psychic. So I really do feel as Saturn's transiting through Pisces, for all you Pisces out there, as he crosses your sun, expect just to feel blocked and you can't express yourself. Maybe you get writer's block. Do you know what I mean? Or a creative block in some way. But the one thing that it's good for in the sign of Pisces is to get organized. So if you're feeling creatively blocked, bring in a practice into your home like Feng Shui. Feng Shui is brilliant because I really do feel that's the kind of creativity that Saturn can bring out in a more positive way. Like anything to do with organization or anything that takes discipline, like martial arts or Tai Chi or yoga. It takes discipline to exercise. So, I do feel nature walks as well. It's just developing a routine and with the moon in opposition to Saturn, I mean, that can bring up a lot of stagnation as well, but it can also bring up a little bit of melancholy or a little bit of depression. There could be a lack of emotional flexibility and optimism. That energy can feel mundane at times. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, we can expect to see that people feeling a bit bored, especially if they've got a lot of nervous energy going on. If, like, any of these planetary positions are triggering that within them, especially with this Virgoan energy. So if you're a Virgo and the black moon's crossing your sun, I mean, right now the black moon's at 34 degrees in Virgo. So if you're born in the latter part of Virgo, I would say that's where the black moon's affecting, certain Virgoans. Remember, Virgo is the largest constellation at 45 degrees. So that's why Virgos may not always relate to their sun sign horoscope, because the energies are a little bit further ahead or not as caught up. You know what I mean? Although eventually you will kind of experience that energy, it might take a little bit more time. So just be aware of that. And with, the moon in opposition to Neptune, I mean, this is all about projection. So sometimes if we've got things coming up and we're feeling a bit emotional or a little bit put out, or maybe, it can create a little bit of a victim mentality. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes we can project that onto other people. But then other people might be in that mode and project that onto us. So also it's another thing to be aware of. So I wouldn't take it seriously, just see it for what it is. It's just projection. And we see that a lot in the media anyway. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of projecting energy going around at the moment, I feel. And I think another thing we need to be aware of with all these energies going on, that there's a very thin line between emotion and psychic instinct. I mean, even for us people that are adept with our psychic activities, just be aware that sometimes it can be emotions because, well, it don't matter who we are. We all got an emotional makeup. So sometimes that can be triggered, and sometimes we can mistake an emotional reaction with a psychic instinct. Do you know what I mean? So with the moon in opposition to Neptune, we're feeling a little bit hyped up or a little bit oversensitive. So maybe things can trigger us, especially again with the Black Moon Lilith in opposition to Chiron. It can trigger old wounds. It can be a word, an action, or just something that bubbles up within us because it needs to be healed. So again, just be aware of that. But with the moon in conjunction with the south node, I mean, it is a difficult aspect as well, because it shows that, it's not good timing. With the sun conjunct the north node, it shows it's good timing. But with this little stellium going on, we could think it's good timing, but actually it isn't, especially with all this emotional triggers, with all these emotional triggers going off, and with us like in a sense of brain fog as well. So, I just feel take that as a warning not to move forward with things, not to take things on as fact. Keep the mind open and just really concentrate on your own well-being. It's so important we concentrate on our own well-being this full moon. Because we can feel, there's a lot of karmic stuff coming up, a lot of old stuff. But also with the moon in conjunction to the south node, on a bigger level, this is very karmic as well, especially if there's been like a misuse of wealth, position, or popularity. And with the moon in Leo, it could be around the media industry, the entertainment industry. So again, we might see things come out, maybe not now, maybe kind of going into April, we may see the truth of things. Do you know what I mean? So there could be a lot of hype going on at the moment within like the entertainment industry or within the media industry. So just be aware of that as well. Don't take anything on as fact. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling. That we should keep our minds open to at least mid-April, and then kind of come to certain conclusions, because I feel a lot more clarity will be coming in around about that point. And we do have this kite going on still. It's been going on for a little while with Uranus at the top of the kite. Now, Uranus has just entered back into Taurus. Now, Uranus entered into Taurus, I think it was last May. Now, this is very global. All the outer planets are more kind of about the global community. So coming into Taurus, it's all about the economy. It's all about, our sense of security. When he was retrograding back through Aries, it was like going back in time a bit, because he was retrograding through Aries for quite a while, backwards and forwards in Aries. And that was very, very erratic energy. I mean, I think that started, he moved into Aries kind of around 2019, I think it was. Or it could have been 2018, but I'm thinking more 2019. So he's been in Aries for quite some time. I can't remember now. I think he retrograded back into Aries. I think it might have been around September last year. I can't quite remember. But anyway, there's going to be a shake-up around the economy, about our sense of security. But, right off the cuff, Uranus is going to be in opposition to both, Vesta is part of the Vesta here. I'll just show you for those that are learning astrology. Vesta here is part of this kite, whereas Juno's just outside. Now, Juno's 0 degrees in Scorpio. Uranus is 0 degrees in Taurus. So I really do feel there's going to be some kind of breakthrough. there's going to be some kind of breakthrough when it comes to relationships, either business partnerships. And I feel this is more on a global level, but there's some kind of breakthrough when it comes to committed partnerships, career moves. I just feel it's more in the global community, probably to do with corporations or government contracts, stuff like that. And I feel like, again, Scorpio is a very investigative energy, but he's also a very transforming energy as well. So I feel there's going to be a lot going on there throughout this lunar eclipse and this Mercury Venus retrograde that's going on as well. So I think we just watch out for that. Now, with Uranus in opposition to Vesta, who's transiting in Libra right now, I kind of feel that, there's going to be sudden changes going on in our spiritual development or our self empowerment, maybe when it comes to freedom. But there's a lot of to and fro in with the Libran energy. Do you know what I mean? So I really do feel the boat is rocking there when it comes to our spiritual principles, values, or missions, or purpose. Again, we just need to watch out for that. And I think that's it really for the full moon lunar eclipse. Like I said, I've done the horoscopes, the sun sign horoscopes, which I'll link below. I've also done an article on the Mercury retrograde, which I will link below. And yeah, I mean, we've got the solar eclipse coming up on the 29th of March, and I think that occurs in the sign of Pisces as well. So, like I said, just take it easy and really concentrate on your well-being. That is my advice for this full moon lunar eclipse. And as always, kindred, I'm sending you peace and much love. Take care.